Hold up. Before we dive in, let me ask you a question that might shake your entire worldview. Have you ever felt like the harder you work, the more the system takes from you, while the wealthy float above it all, untouched? Picture this: you're clocking 50 hours a week, hauling boxes or grading papers, and half your check vanishes before you see it. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos lives in a $165 million mansion, paid zero taxes in 2007. You're not imagining things. And you're not alone. In the next 13 minutes, we're going to rip the mask off the tax code and expose a brutal truth. The poor pay more, yes, more, than the rich. This isn't some bureaucratic accident. It's a cold, calculated trap, engineered to keep you down. Stick with me to the end, because this revelation will change how you see your money, your work, and your power. Let's dive into the fire. They told you taxes were fair. That everyone paid their share. That the rich shoulder the biggest burden because they earn the most. Sound familiar? It's a bedtime story, a lullaby to keep you asleep while they pick your pockets. The truth is far darker. While billionaires build empires by the second, it's the delivery drivers hauling packages in the rain, the nurses saving lives on 12-hour shifts, the school teachers shaping young minds, the freelancers hustling gigs until midnight, and small business warriors risking everything to keep their dreams alive who fund this nation. The real America doesn't run on wealth, it runs on work. And work is what gets taxed to death. Let's be crystal clear, this isn't random, and it's not a glitch. It's a meticulously engineered machine, crafted over a century to drain you while the elite thrive. And you? You're the fuel. Every dollar you earn gets sliced before it even touches your hands. Payroll taxes. Sales taxes. Gas taxes. Fees on top of fees. But billionaires like Jeff Bezos? In 2007, he paid $0 in federal income tax, zero, borrowing against his Amazon stock instead of selling, as uncovered by ProPublica's IRS data dive. Elon Musk? Same in 2018, his wealth soaring by billions, yet his tax bill was nothing. Loans, stock options, and a tax code written for them, not you. This isn't fair, it's a rigged game, and you've been playing it blind. Let's zoom in. The tax system isn't one path, it's a labyrinth with hidden traps. And if you don't have the map, you're paying the tolls. The poor don't pay more because they earn more, they pay more because they have fewer choices. You earn, get taxed, spend what's left. That's your cycle, a hamster wheel designed to exhaust you. But the rich? They earn, defer, deduct, borrow, invest, and maybe, just maybe, they pay a symbolic amount. Take deductions, you can't claim them unless you own a business or investments. Loopholes? They're not for you unless you can afford elite accountants charging $800 an hour. Political influence? That's reserved for the elite club. Consider Maria, a single mom earning $30,000 a year. She might dodge federal income tax with the Earned Income Tax Credit, but she's still hit by 7.65% payroll tax, that's $2,295, plus 5% sales tax on her weekly grocery bill, and property taxes baked into her $900 rent. That's over $3,000 vanishing yearly, leaving her scrambling. Meanwhile, Warren Buffett, worth $100 billion, admitted in 2010 he paid a 17.4% effective tax rate, less than his secretary's 25%. Let that sink in for a moment. A billionaire, idolized for his wisdom, pays less than the woman typing his letters. Let's run some cold, hard numbers to wake you up. The bottom 20% of earners pay over 20% of their income in combined taxes, payroll, sales, property, you name it. The top 1%? Just 7.4%, according to the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. A worker making $60,000 might pay nearly $12,000 in taxes, 20% of their sweat. A wealthy stockholder with $10 million in stock can borrow $400,000 tax-free, deduct the interest, and pay less than 1%. Who's funding this country? You are. And they still have the audacity to call this system fair. It's a lie wrapped in numbers. But here's the next layer, a mental taxation that's even more insidious. The system doesn't just drain your wallet, it rewires your brain. You're conditioned to fear the IRS, to worship tax refunds like they're a gift, to feel shame if you fall behind on payments. Meanwhile, billionaires who exploit every loophole are labeled savvy or brilliant. Take Wesley Snipes. He served 3 years in prison for evading $13.8 million in taxes, a crime born from desperation. But General Electric legally avoided $3.5 billion in taxes in 2018, thanks to loopholes and credits. News Corp, owned by Rupert Murdoch, skipped taxes on £1.8 billion in profits in 2020, legal offsets, they call it. The difference? Lawyers. Lobbyists. Influence. Speaking of influence, who writes the tax laws? Politicians bankrolled by donors with deep pockets. Lobbyists with spreadsheets full of deductions for their corporate masters. Media owned by billionaires like Murdoch, spinning stories that keep you docile and distracted. They don't want reform. They want silence. Drop a comment right now, is the system broken, or rigged from the start? Because staying silent means surrendering your future. Now let's talk about the taxes you don't see, the ones that lurk in the shadows, draining you silently. Time taxes. Stress taxes. Knowledge taxes. These aren't on your W-2, they're baked into the economy's cruel design. If you can't afford a tax expert, you spend hours navigating IRS forms, second-guessing every line. Number 401k at your job? You're left fending for yourself, piecing together a retirement plan with no guidance. A low-income father earning $35,000 might lose 120 hours a year just juggling finances, time he could have used to learn coding, start a side hustle, or be with his kids. A millionaire, on the other hand, pays $1,000 for a tax strategist and saves $50,000 with a single phone call. The time tax hits hardest where resources are scarcest. And every mistake you make? It costs double. Bounce a check because the rent was due? That's a $35 overdraft fee. Pay your rent one day late? Add a $75 penalty. Can't afford insurance? One ER visit for a broken arm, and you're $10,000 in debt that follows you for a decade. Miss a loan payment? Your credit score tanks, and suddenly every future loan comes with higher rates. The Federal Reserve found low-income households pay an average of $2,300 a year in such fees, money the rich sidestep with cash reserves. This isn't just taxes, it's a penalty for being poor. And it's relentless. Now let's talk inflation, the silent thief that screams if you listen closely. It's not just an economic concept, it's a weapon against you. When prices rise faster than wages, your dollar dies quietly in your pocket. Rent climbs from $1,200 to $1,300. Groceries surge 20% in a year. Gas prices balloon, forcing you to choose between filling the tank or buying dinner. A modest raise of 2% doesn't catch up, it's a cruel joke. But the wealthy? They win again. They own the assets that inflate. Real estate. Stocks. Businesses. A landlord with a $1 million property portfolio sees it jump to $1.05 million with 5% inflation, while your rent hike funds his yacht. The Congressional Budget Office reported in 2022 that the top 10% of Americans hold 70% of total U.S. wealth, a gap widened by inflation favoring asset owners. You're renting their gains. And then there's lobbying, let's call it what it is, legalized bribery with a fancy suit. Corporations spend $500 million yearly lobbying Congress, not for better roads, not for healthcare, but for tax breaks carved out just for them. Industry-specific loopholes. Offshore havens. Accelerated depreciation schedules. And it works. Amazon spent $20 million on lobbying in 2021 and dodged over $7.2 billion in federal taxes, thanks to credits and deductions. Oxfam estimates corporations avoid $100 billion in U.S. taxes annually, shifting that burden onto your shoulders, your payroll taxes, your state income tax, your consumption taxes. This isn't policy, it's a payoff, and you're the one paying the bill. Here's the fork in the road, and it's time to choose. You can keep playing this rigged game, or learn the rules and turn the tables. The tax code punishes labor and rewards ownership. But you can become an owner. And you don't need millions to start. It begins with awareness, with action, with a single step. Form an LLC to shield your earnings and deduct legitimate expenses, like that $1,500 laptop for your side hustle. Use a solo 401k or SEP IRA to protect your income, up to $66,000 a year if you're self-employed, tax deferred until you're ready. Open a health savings account, HSA, to cover medical costs tax-free. A freelance graphic designer earning $50,000 can save thousands with these moves. Then, take that knowledge and compound it. Automate your investments. Even $200 a month in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund can grow to over $200,000 in 30 years at a 6% return. Build credit strategically. Pay off small debts to boost your score and unlock better rates. Start a side hustle that becomes a business, maybe delivering food or selling online, and reinvest the profits into assets, not liabilities like a new car payment. And teach your kids early. Show them the power of a dollar saved. Because the only thing more powerful than generational wealth is generational knowledge. Picture a family where the parent starts the $200 per month investment at age 30. By age 60, it's $200,000, money their kids can inherit and grow further. A delivery driver claiming $3,000 in mileage deductions can save $900 in taxes and invest it into a Roth IRA. In 20 years at 6%, that's $50,000, proof that small moves compound into freedom. A teacher opening a Roth IRA with $500 a year can retire with $30,000, untaxed. A side hustler saving receipts for office supplies can cut their tax bill by hundreds. These are seeds of liberation, and they grow with time. The system fears you acting. Imagine 1 million people choosing ownership over oppression. 10 million rewriting the narrative, one investment at a time. That's how change begins, not in Washington, but in your wallet, your mindset, your resolve. Freedom isn't given, it's built. And has Tu Barak as your guide, your rebellion, your roadmap. Step by step. Mindset by mindset. Asset by asset. So what's your next move? Open a brokerage account today, Fidelity, Vanguard, it doesn't matter, just start. Launch a side hustle, sell something you're good at on Etsy or eBay. Cancel that $10 per month subscription you don't use and invest it instead. Share this video with someone who still believes taxes are fair, they need to wake up too. This isn't just about money, it's about power. Your power. If this opened your eyes, hit that like button, let's send a signal. Drop a comment, what's your first step? Are you opening an account? Cutting a cost? Let's build a community of change. And subscribe to Has Tu Barak. We don't just expose the system, we help you rise above it, with new truth bombs every week. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always consult with a licensed financial professional before making financial decisions. Now go change your life. Together, we can break this cycle, start today. See you next time.